Hello and welcome to another update. It's been an awful long time since I did an update on my HSCT treatment for multiple sclerosis. So let me give you some background. If you come to this video fresh, I was diagnosed with primary progressive multiple sclerosis. I don't know, was it in August 2018? And when I found out I had the progressive version of MS, so initially I was diagnosed with MS, then primary progressive MS shortly afterwards, and I found out there was little to no treatment available on the NHS in the UK for PPMS. So it being the rarer type where you just progress worse and worse until the end of your life. I thought it was pretty important to find something to do for my condition. So, because you want control, you want to feel like you're battling it, that you're doing something, and just sitting there trying to eat better and live well whilst you gradually decline is not a great way, I think, to live. So straight away I found out through researching on the internet about HSCT and thought I've got to do that. The stats look really good. The treatment, I understand the treatment. It sounds totally bona fide. There's nothing woo. There's nothing, some people say it's this new treatment. It's been around for ages. Certainly works for cancer. Has worked for cancer for an awful long time. Has worked for MS for 20 years, particularly in Russia. So I did my research and thought, right, I need to go to Moscow to get it done because that's the best place to get it done by the looks of it. And I fundraised in order to do that straight away and got out there as soon as possible because the idea was that you hit, if it works in MS, you're constantly sort of progressing to a worse and worse level. So if it works, it kind of halts you where you're at. So obviously, the earlier that you catch your MS with HSCT, the better you will be in the long term. Because if you catch it here, then you stay here. Whereas if you catch it up here, you're going to stay up there. There are some occasions where people do get better from HSCT to differing degrees, right? It doesn't cure you, it halts it, reboots your immune system, and then you can start your life again with more confidence that you aren't just going to progress and get worse. So anyway, that I then went to Moscow to get HSCT last April, March April 2019. It's now November 2020. So we're talking about a year and a half ago. I went and got my treatment. And then in that September of last year, so I would have had April, May, June, July, August, September. So pretty much 4 to 5 months, I went back to school as a teacher. And the reason I haven't sort of posted any updates for an awful long time is because I was going through the process of reintegrating back into school, working really hard, but also struggling with school to some degree. And in fact, it's the notion of cognitive load as a teacher, right? So you've got 30 kids, 6 of them are really challenging. You've got behavioural issues, you've got special needs issues, you've got to try and teach 5 different levels and tasks within one lesson. You've got your IT behind you that you're trying to sort of manage so that your whiteboard's working and your computer and everything, and you're delivering the content and you're managing the 2 adults that might be in your room, and all these different things that are going on the whole time and reacting to, as I say, to behaviour and also to genuine sort of teaching moments. The cognitive load, I'm still good at a focused task. So I can sit down and do some serious writing, right? On a given subject, and I can seem like, hey, I'm in the zone, I know what I'm doing, this is great, he's totally fine, what are you worried about? You put me in a context where I'm multitasking huge amounts of variables and inputs at the same time, and I struggle. Okay, so I was struggling with teaching and thought, right, it's time to take early ill health retirement from teaching. So which I did, and I eventually came out of teaching August this year. So I had a whole extra year in teaching, but the pandemic hit and I was working from home and shielding due to my immune system, which was compromised, or at the end of being compromised. I'm basically totally fine now, I don't need to shield. But at the time the pandemic hit, March time, I was still at the end of, is my immune system weak, yada, yada, yada. So I worked from home. And this continued until basically I came out of teaching in August. It's just the way it went. I was struggling with teaching, took early ill health retirement, time to change job. But unfortunately, the pandemic's hit and everyone's out of a job. So there's a really interesting dynamic now as a technically disabled person looking for a job and competing with so many other people is a massive challenge, because best one in the world, if you have a like-for-like candidate, I know equalities regulations say X and Y, but the reality is if you've got a like-for-like candidate and one of them, two like-for-like candidates, and one of them has a disability that you don't really know what it is because it's not expressed in the application, then you're thinking, well, how much time off are they going to have? How do we have to change the office? How much is it going to cost us? You can imagine that the able-bodied person is going to get the job, right? And I'm in a situation where I'm looking for a job, right? In the position I'm in, and that's challenging. But that's aside from how am I doing on the HSCT front and the MS front. And the great news is that I'm plateaued, I'm stable. So for the last year, you have your ups and downs a little bit, which I think are down to environmental factors like the heat of the summer, particular stresses that you might have in your life and things like that. Trying to keep fit during a pandemic lockdown. I was swimming. In fact, I took up swimming in the sea. I live by the sea. So I was lucky enough that I thought, right, keep the body temperature down. I used to go swimming in the swimming pool. Swimming pools are closed down, so I'm now swimming in the sea. Although I haven't been since it's got a bit colder because, it's cold, right? Fair weather swimmer. So you have your environmental challenges whereby you might get a little bit of spike here and a spike there of not feeling too good because you've still got MS, right? And I've still got MS, and I'm although I'm at a low disability scale. So if you looked at me walking down the road, you wouldn't know I've got MS. If I talked to you and you didn't know me, you wouldn't know I've got MS. Occasionally I struggle to find words and lose my train of thought maybe, or lose my focus. But if you didn't know me, I would just look like any other person, right? I mean, my brain used to operate quite high up here, writing books and philosophizing and blogging and all this kind of stuff. I had a high functioning brain, and I've lost some of that, right? But it still functions pretty well. And so if you didn't know me, you wouldn't know that loss, and you just think I'm here, and that's, I function perfectly well. So really, HSCT is still the awesome choice that it has been. My MS has stabilised. I have not got any worse for a year or year and a half. I think I had a really good bounce back in certain ways just after. So basically, imagine I was progressing, right? And then I had my HSCT here. And I actually did get better in a lot of ways. I lost some body strength from not doing a lot of exercise, so I was a bit weak on walking and stuff. But that was deconditioning of my muscles. So, but generally in cognitive functioning and everything, I got better, and then I probably just very slowly got back to almost where I was. I still think I'm better in some ways than I was before I had my treatment. So I basically was progressing, HSCT, back to here, and I'm probably there, and I've stabilised there, if that makes sense. And that stability has been pretty, I'd say, consistent and embedded. So I'm really happy that it still worked. right? And HSCT was as I say, the excellent decision that I knew it would be. Of course, it doesn't work for everyone, but when you've got PPMS and you catch it fairly early, like I did, it's an absolute no-brainer if you can get that money together, or if you can get it on the NHS, which is a challenge. And I think on the NHS you're more likely to get it if you're relapsing remitting, to be honest. And so therefore, I don't think there really are many other options. So I would advise anyone to get it, no matter what the level of their condition is, because you know, when I had my treatment, there were some people in wheelchairs in there that were getting it, and some people like me who were only marginally sort of affected, arguably. So yeah, definitely in a good place still. As far as diet, I still am vegan, following the OMS diet. So let's have a look. Where is it? Where are you? I know you're here. Ah, there you are. So that's a book I got as soon as I got MS. I thought, right, let's find me some information. So that's a big old book, Overcoming MS. And for people in the UK and Ireland, if you register with the OMS website, they send you this for free. Some very kindly person has given them enough money to send a book to you for free. Now, I love this book because it's evidence-based, science-based approach to treating MS from a position of what you can do as an individual, what's within your power and your control. So your diet, the way you live, the supplements you take, all these kinds of things. It seems that, I mean, it's very dirty. Look at how dirty that cover is. But it's a well-used book, right? It's been in the kitchen, you know, and everywhere you're doing things, you're sort of referring to it. It seems that with MS, people go down either the vegan diet or the paleo diet. Terry Wiles. Although it's interesting that Terry Wiles, all the success of her paleo diet, she had HSCT on a sly, which not everyone knows. So she's saying, look at me, because she's selling loads of books, obviously. Look at me, changing my diet to the paleo diet is fantastic. I'm not saying it isn't. That's probably a very good diet, and will positively affect you. She's done that and said, look, and now I can ride a bike again. But she also had HSCT on the side, so you know, just so bear that in mind. But yeah, so I'm keeping to my diet pretty well. Sometimes I'm a little bit, I'm a bit bad when it comes to things like finishing my boys' plates of food. Right, so if they've got a bit of food that might not fit into the vegan paradigm, I'll finish it off their plate because I really don't like waste. But I'm generally the best on dairy, so really, you know, I'm staying away from dairy. And again, I don't know whether that's working, but it's a fairly easy insurance policy to take, because being dairy free these days is really, really easy in the UK. The supermarkets and the shops stock so much stuff. I'm a massive tea drinker, and I use unsweetened UHT soy milk in my tea. That's the best, just the most neutral. It just makes a good cup of tea. And now if someone makes me tea accidentally with milk, I'm like, it's horrible tasting. So your taste buds do get used to changes. Cheese, you miss cheese because, you know, cheese is good. And dairy-free vegan cheese is not good, generally speaking. But you know, it's worth it to you don't know whether, because you can't compare an alternative version of yourself that's not doing all these things. So you're only guessing whether these things are working. You're just hoping they're working, but there's no there's no detriment to my life by making these changes, right? And in fact, I feel, morally better. I've always wanted to go sort of vegetarian, vegan. Just thought I wouldn't be able to. I like meat too much and dairy, etc., etc. But do you know what? I'm happy to have done it. And other changes, I know I need to do more exercise. Right? That's just a simple fact. And the pandemic's not helping. So that's my challenge going forward. But as far as my MS and HSCT is concerned, happy days, in a good place. Need to find a job, but in a good place. And really, what more can you ask for than to have your health in as good a place as it can be, considering the challenges that you face. So I'm really happy with that. I hope this update gives you some hope if you are following or thinking of following or already are following the route into treating your MS with HSCT with stem cell therapy. I have helped people in the local area who have contacted me, so unsolicited contacts say, what, your videos are really useful. Can you give me some advice? And actually, it's so wonderful. I know someone that's just come back from Moscow, having had that, and it's really great to be of help to people, because these decisions are massive. They have huge ramifications, not just financially, but in the risk factor that people associate with having huge doses of chemotherapy, right? There are risks, but they're really well managed. And if you know what you're doing, I think and you do things well, I think the risks are minimal and far outweigh, not doing anything and just watching yourself deteriorate, certainly with progressive versions of the condition. So if you've got any questions, put them in the comments. I'll try, because I have lots of different YouTube accounts. I'm not always on this account, so I will try to get back to any questions and comments that people give me as soon as I can. And please like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you. Bye.